How's it going, everybody? Dieter Kurtenbach here with Cam Inman. We're at Levi's Stadium, and the 49ers have made their selection. Number 2 pick in the first round. Tell us who it was, Cam.
It was Nick Bosa, and it was the guy that I think everybody expected once we figured out that Kyler Murray was going to go number 1 to the Arizona Cardinals. That scuttlebutt kind of came out back at the Combine when word leaked that he wasn't going to be going to the Oakland A's. And now he's going to the Arizona Cardinals where the A's have spring training. And so now the 49ers hired a guy to go chase after Kyler Murray twice a year, and that's Nick Bosa, Ohio State defensive end. Comes from a lineage of Bosas that have played in the NFL, from the father John, an uncle that played, and then Joey, who is down there with the Chargers right now, living up to his billing as a first-round defensive end. So, I mean, it basically, to me, this was the obvious call. They needed a defensive end to bookend one side of the line while they got D Ford. He was here a month ago on this field right after they traded for him, saying, okay, he's got the speed, edge rush. So now the Niners, they've got a defensive line, Dieter, that is supposed to be the one that gets after the quarterbacks. They have their star quarterback.
Yep.
This regime's been here 3 years now. This is their hand-picked roster. So what do you think? Is this the reason to fill this place up with fans and expect football here in January?
Expect football in January. I think we're going to need to get to August and actually see this team on the field a little bit to feel comfortable with that. But certainly you can see the reasons for optimism. This is the kind of player that the Niners think that they needed. And when you add in D Ford, another guy that they needed, you have made a massive upgrade in the largest area of need for this roster. And if Garoppolo is half the quarterback, well, he probably needs to be a little bit more than half.
He needs to have 2 healthy knees, is what yes.
If Garoppolo is as good as the 49ers think that he can be, then this team has a chance. But we're living in a wonderful age of optimism right now. So many things can go wrong. These guys still have to play together and cohesive, and it's going to be on Kyle Shanahan and his staff to actually, put them out in the best position to play. It'll be really interesting to see how they shuffle this defensive line now that they have 2 bookend guys, something that they have just not had since Kyle Shanahan's been here.
Well, and that was one of the topics today, is whether Solomon Thomas, their number 3 overall pick only 2 years ago, whether he was on the trade block. John Lynch came out and said that's not true. He actually met with Solomon Thomas today to allay those fears and say they're not true, which I think may come into play more if Quinnen Williams was their pick, but I think everybody knew that Nick Bosa was going to be it. So I think this is pretty much how they want it done. There was not a very controversial action today, number 2 pick. The only controversy and thing people can pick apart, and especially here in Silicon Valley, is Nick Bosa's social media action, which has been addressed. He had some tweets that were started pro-Trump, anti-Kaepernick, and then people did a little more digging and saw that he liked an Instagram post of a friend who was with a girl. He didn't bother to read the hashtags. He liked the post. The hashtags had some racist connotations in it.
Yep.
He said he was 16. He didn't read it. He's learned. He's lived. He is coming to the 49ers not as an off-the-field activist, which I think some people are concerned about, but you have to concern yourself whether are they getting a racist football player? He says he's not. John Lynch says he's not. Kyle Shanahan says he's not. It seems like people are distancing themselves from that as fast as they can, and it's another talking point. So.
I doubt it's a talking point we're going to be bringing up too much once the season starts. That's usually how these things go. You're looking for every reason to not take Nick Bosa. They took him anyway. Clearly, the 49ers don't have a concern with it. That's not to say that it shouldn't be a concern for some people, but they know what they were getting with this. None of this came as a surprise to them. Ultimately, Day 2, Day 3 of the draft, this team does not have a lot of picks. They did the press conference pretty early today just because they had the second pick.
Sun's still up.
Yeah, they didn't think that they were going to be trading back into the first round as they've done in drafts past. What do they need to do on Days 2 and 3? What are the positions of need? What are the areas of need for this squad?
Well, first of all, it's interesting that we say positions of need because they always say we're taking best player available. The reason they picked Nick Bosa, and John Lynch admitted this, it was a position of need. Right. Okay, so positions of need tomorrow and Saturday are, I'd like to see them get a wide receiver, a bigger wide receiver. They traded up last year in the second round and got a wide receiver, Dante Pettis, different kind of wide receiver. So don't duplicate that. Maybe what you also need is a new cornerback that's going to benefit from a better pass rush, a guy that's going to be around a long time. So you're going to invest a high pick in him. They've invested 3rd-round picks the last 2 drafts in Tavarius Moore and Akella Witherspoon. Guys that haven't panned out. They brought in Jason Verrett, who might pan out, a former Pro Bowler, but it's been hurt the last 3 years. Richard Sherman figures he's got another year or 2 left to play cornerback, so he's kind of, whatever. I still think he's one of the smartest players in the game. And so you could get a cornerback, maybe safety, because they haven't looked at free safeties. Always need depth on the line, and maybe a backup tight end, please.
A lot of stuff to do over the next couple of days for the San Francisco 49ers, days 2 and 3. As much as we talk about the first round and pick number 2, and this is the marquee spot, days 2 and 3, that's how you win Super Bowls, and that's what the 49ers still have in mind. Optimism abound here in Santa Clara. We'll talk to you guys soon.